Did it hit you right away when you were coming up with the idea for the book? Like, hey, this actually kind of works perfectly. Was this like suggested to you? How did the actual bits and pieces of the book come together?
Yeah, well, you're totally right about that, that coins punctuated Rome's rise and fall, from power. In fact, the downfall just as much as the rise, which is something that really occurred to me as I was writing and was very helpful to me. It was a quick realization for me that you could go all the way through Roman history and have a coin at every step of the way that told whatever story was going on. You're completely right. Coins were used as direct line to the Roman people from the state, and there's not many artifacts you can think of that do that. Of course, there's public inscriptions, things like that are usually unique and in museums, as they rightly should be. But coins were the first mass media. But when we think about the printing press or the internet, those two things are often conflated as the two biggest moments of mass media production in human history. Well, I would argue that ancient coins should be the first form of mass media that we think of in that conversation. This was a way that a leader could, within a few weeks, could get a message out to the tens of millions of people across his empire. For example, we know that coins traveled very quickly. There's coins in the ruins of Pompeii that were minted probably only a week or a few weeks before in Rome and were already out and proliferating and traveling. So coins were so many things to the Roman people, as I say in the book. They were news. They were certainly a cultural touchstone. This is where you got your fashions, your hairstyles. You saw the latest emperor and empress as well. So, women were very interested in the appearances and the latest fashions and chic individuals on their Roman coins. There were, of course, state propaganda, which is fascinating to look at in its own right today as a historian. And they were an imperial kind of engine room, really, that mint in Rome, in central Rome, could get out these, whether it was a war that was won and you wanted to get that propaganda out straight away, or a war that was lost and you wanted to pretend it was won. Like you said, this was a way you could very, very quickly reach the populace. My book begins with the first silver coin struck in Rome. They did strike bronze coins for, a century or so before, very rough, large bronze coins. But the first silver coin struck in Rome, at the mint in central Rome, was the founding myth of Rome with, lo and behold, the she-wolf on that coin. And from that first coin, you can pretty much chart an unbroken line all the way through the rise of the Republic, through the Punic Wars, to the first denarius that was struck just as Hannibal was defeated, really. And their storytelling power is immense. Not only do they show you the faces of the ancient past, but they show you the priorities of those leaders.